So I have a habit of promising videos for release in the near future and then not releasing them for a long time. If you've been following my content recently, I'm sure you know the video that I'm talking about. Magnemite, obviously. I promised this little collection of bolts its chance at Pokemon Yellow at least 6 months ago. Today, it's getting its shot. Will it have the skills required to breeze through the game? Well, if it doesn't, Magnemite should check out Skillshare, the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. It's like a collection of TMs that you can use on yourself to update your IRL moveset. Here are some topics I've explored to help me create my channel: video editing, photo editing, vector design, illustration, and audio recording. This week I just finished the class YouTube Success Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD, which was helpful for me as I'm always working to improve my script writing skills. One thing I love about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow your creativity wherever it takes you. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. On Skillshare, you can become a Smeargle and sketch other people's moves. It's pretty great. Link's in the description. Now, let's find out how I do with Magnemite. After I finished Pokemon Yellow with Voltorb, I was more than a bit worried about this playthrough. Mono-electric types face some serious challenges in this game. It feels as if Game Freak decided to make Pokemon Yellow particularly hostile to the Pikachu that they force on you as a starter. No wonder I wanted to buy a copy of Pokemon Blue when I was a kid. I wanted to escape this game where Pikachu is just woefully unprepared every step of the way. Here are the rules for today's playthrough. I've left them in the description so you can reference them later. Magnemite's stats are decent for a solo playthrough. Excellent Special makes its electric moves hit hard and gives it the ability to tank special hits well. Its speed is decent, like not Slowpoke or Jigglypuff tier, so gaining some stat experience will let it move first against most opponents. The real drawback is its HP and attack. These are bad. Since it's an electric type, it seems like they shouldn't matter so much, but Tackle is all it gets until level 21. So Brock is gonna be not so much fun. Low HP has an impact on Magnemite's high defense stat. It effectively gets cancelled out at the start of the game, because you don't have that much health to lose anyways. Also, Steel typing doesn't exist yet, except for Venomoth of course, and that allows normal moves to deal neutral damage. I don't think that I would have won this fight in the lab if I didn't get insanely lucky. Eevee used Tail Whip 6 times and Tackle only once. I'm gonna face his Jolteon in this playthrough. I know Magnemite is probably the weakest to Flareon, even without the Steel type, but I need all the early game experience I can get in order to level up for Brock as fast as possible. Because of my low HP and attack, there's just no way that I'm gonna be able to beat him without Sonic Boom. To prepare for the optional rival, I train outside of Viridian City. Magnemite's part of the medium fast experience group, and in the early part of Generation 1, this is the second slowest experience curve. Yes, the medium fast curve is in fact slower than the medium slow curve. To speed things up, I attempted to buy some potions in Viridian City and I used Struggle to prevent trips to the Pokemon Center. Turns out that low HP makes the recoil damage from Struggle drain enough health that I have to heal with a potion after every single fight. So there's a faster way to train. I head north to Viridian Forest and fight the trainers here. Did you know that knocking out a trainer's Pokemon actually yields 1.5 times the experience that the same Pokemon would give you if it was in the wild? This is one reason that I prioritize fighting trainers instead of grinding on wild Pokemon. Also, trainers generally have more than one team member, and that means that the battle intro animation only has to play once, but you still get to knock out multiple Pokemon. Finally, their team members are usually higher levels than the Pokemon that would be normally found in the wild. All of these small things are really important and they save time. At level 11, I feel comfortable facing the optional rival. Here's why I'm concerned for this fight. Spearow knows Peck, Growl, and Leer. Peck is what I'm hoping he chooses, because Growl and Leer can really mess Magnemite up against Eevee. The bird lowers my defense once and my attack 3 times before it finally faints. Eevee is next. Last week in my Slowpoke video, I complained about how this little dog is a special tank in the early game, but today, because of the growls, Magnemite's tackles are doing almost no damage. Eevee's tanking these hits better than any special attack. However, its bulk isn't the worst part of the fight. The fact that it knows Sand Attack is what makes it truly intimidating here. I get a lucky critical hit along the way, which really helps speed up my progress. I needed that. Eevee takes me down to 9 hit points with Tackle, but I connect and it faints. So both of these early game rival battles required luck. That's not a good start, and it's about to get worse. The grind for Sonic Boom starts now. Complicating the matter is my low HP stat, which forces me to let Nurse Joy take care of my PP so that I won't have to struggle. Recoil damage just isn't good. The medium fast level curve slows things down too. Honestly, this was not fun. Like, it wasn't Tangela levels of pain, but defeating the first gym leader shouldn't be this hard. Unfortunately, Brock is the rock-hard trainer. As of late, I've been falling behind with my release schedule on the channel, so I was really hoping that this video would be a quick one to finish, but Magnemite is determined to get an awful Brock split. It takes 35.5 minutes to level up to 21 and learn Sonic Boom. I skip healing in Pewter City and hightail it to Brock. Fixed damage is excellent against him. I'm able to knock Geodude out in 2 hits. If I miss a Sonic Boom, Onix could pose a threat if it uses Bide, but Magnemite is aiming well and I knock the snake out in 2 turns. I've earned the Boulder Badge, and I'm finally free from the early game. By the way, I'm excited to start sharing all the data I'm collecting on these runs. With it, I'm going to be able to start ranking all of them in a Kanto tier list, as well as giving awards to Pokemon who achieve truly unique accomplishments. One of these awards, well, it's more like a Darwin Award, is going to be the Pokemon that got the worst time to defeat Brock. Honestly, Magnemite is pretty high up on the list of contenders for that one. No Spearow shows up when dodging the last today. I heal and then I enter Mount Moon. Magnemite doesn't get access to Mega Punch or Water Gun. I pick up the rare candy, defeat the Super Nerd, grab the Dome Fossil, all hail the Dark Lord. I jump over a ledge into some grass, no Spearow here, and then I proceed to Cerulean. While I grab the second rare candy and I defeat my rival, I had to decide if I would face Misty first or complete Nugget Bridge. Magnemite learns Thundershock at level 25, so completing Nugget Bridge first just makes sense. That will speed up my fight against Misty when I get there, plus it's possible for me to lose against her if I don't have Thundershock. Water moves do neutral damage to electric types, so her good AI can still use Bubble Beam against Magnemite. I can see a scenario where that leads to a reset or two if I'm trying to defeat her only using Sonic Boom. At level 25, I'm ready to start zapping people. I help Bill out and make my way back to Cerulean to challenge Misty. She opens with Staryu. I electrocute it with Thundershock, a move that should really be called Electric Shock, and then it faints. Starmie's next. Misty uses an X-Defend, Thundershock connects, gets a critical hit, and Misty's defeated. So I guess that Brock was really hard, and Misty was just really easy. Between Cerulean and Vermilion, I have a chance to catch a flying type, but for the 3rd time none show up. I guess when I'm prepared to catch them, they avoid me, but when I forget to buy repels and Pokeballs, they show up on every other step. On the SSN, I grab the TM for Rest, and for once my Pokemon can't learn Body Slam. Magnemite is only bolts and magnets after all, it doesn't really have a body, so that makes sense. I pick up the 3rd rare candy, the Gentleman Candy as it's known. After that, I face my rival. The only issue here is Sand Attack from both the Sandshrew and the Eevee. I take them out and it's not an issue today. I'm moving on to Surge. Last week I was really excited when I came in here and I got the cans with the first 2 cans I clicked on. And today, it happens again! I can't believe it. 2 trash can puzzles finished after only the first 2 cans. Is that even statistically possible? It's definitely not probable. Surge opens with Raichu. He lacks good AI, so he chooses his moves randomly or just uses one of 2x speeds. Today, Raichu growls, Surge uses X speed, and then he chooses Thunderbolt. Truly a not very effective turn order. My Supersonic gets good luck, and after some loud noises, Raichu faints. This gives Magnemite a big upgrade to its moveset, in the form of Thunderbolt. This is going to be my go-to move for the rest of the run. It has 95 base power, 142.5 power after stab, and 99.6% accuracy. Because Gen 1. However, the Rock Tunnel Gauntlet is next. The Lass, Pokefan, Junior Trainer, and Hiker all stand in my way. The Lass is up first. She's generally a problem because of Oddish's paralysis followed by Bellsprout's wrap, but today I'm able to defeat her without a reset. Next, Magnemite starts to evolve. I get a few comments about how it's strange not to evolve my Pokemon, so let me explain why I do this. I do it for 2 reasons. 1, I want to make the game as challenging as possible. And 2, I want to use all of the fully evolved Pokemon in my Versus series. Don't worry, Magneton will get its chance at Kanto as well. Next is the Pokemaniac, and I think I actually call him a super nerd all the time. He opens with Cubone, and it knows a ground move. Today, it does more than half damage to Magnemite because of a critical hit. Oh no, is this where I reset for the first time? But luckily, he uses Tail Whip, and Cubone faints to a 3rd Sonic Boom. Slowpoke gets zapped and faints, and that's 2 of 4 trainers defeated. The Junior Trainer is next, and I usually call her a Lass. She's got 2 grass Pokemon, and they just love to poison and paralyze me. But today I'm prepared with medicine from Pewter City, so I won't have to backtrack after defeating her. The boss of this gauntlet waits at the end of the tunnel, and he's the first true boss of this entire playthrough. Brock, Misty, and Surge were all foregone conclusions by the time that I faced them. However, the Hiker with his self-destructing rocks is not. Magnemite's defense stat is a big advantage against him, so maybe I can still do it? And then this happens. No self-destructs from the first two Pokemon. I just take them out with Sonic Boom over several turns. Maybe the Graveler will though, but it doesn't. Magnemite gets a free pass through what could have been one of the worst fights yet. I pass through Lavender Town and head south to obtain the TM for Swift. This is a big upgrade over Tackle. I need to keep Sonic Boom for now, especially against buff Rock and Ground types. Swift is also going to help me manage Pokemon who use Fly, Dig, Double Team, or Flash. Believe me though, I really won't remember that in an important moment in the future. This is a Scott's Thoughts video after all. In Celadon, I buy the regular items and reflect on the fact that Voltorb doesn't learn any of the great TMs available in this part of the game. It does learn Reflect though, and I forget to pick up that here. I fight the Rocket in the game corner to obtain the best item in the game, a PP up, and then I grab an extra rare candy. In Pokemon Tower, I face the rival. Electric type is great against his team here. After he's defeated, I proceed to Saffron City. It's time to train. The Fighting Dojo is a great start because I have special moves and I'm not a Steel type yet. That's an advantage now. With them out of the way, I train in Sylph. I need every level possible because Giovanni casts a large shadow over electric types. When I used Voltorb last year, I was only able to defeat Giovanni at his gym at level 99. I've learned a lot since then, my gameplay and videos have improved a lot, so I think that I can do it at a lower level today. I will still need to be a higher level than is typical though. I attempt the Sylph rival at level 40, Sandslash leads. After my first Sonic Boom hit, which does uninspiring damage, the fact sinks in that this fight isn't going to be possible right now. I need more firepower to defeat him. I'll take on Erica and Koga first. At this level, I don't need to worry about her grass types, even though they resist electric moves. I figured that the difference between my attack and special stat would mean that Thunderbolt would do more damage over Swift. Either way, it gets the job done. The Safari Zone provides me with some extra vitamins, and now I'm ready for Koga. However, Venomoth is just terrifying, so I decide to use a few rare candies before I face him. If I could go back and do this again though, I'd skip these because all three Venonat are so easy to knock out. I just didn't need these extra levels. The Moth is up next, and we need to determine what type it is today. It's taking neutral damage from Thunderbolt, so it can't be a flying type despite its obvious wings. Well, it could be. It's probably an electric flying type. They cancel each other out and end up taking neutral damage to all these zaps. Also, if you comment that Venomoth is bug poison, welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. You're wrong. I head back to Sylph and continue my training. I'm feeling ready to face the rival now. But Sonic Boom is still doing the same amount of damage, because Sonic Boom. Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought that would have changed. Swift isn't doing much more either though. The increase in levels does allow me to knock the Ground Shrew out and proceed through his team. Honestly, if Sandslash wasn't on his team, this fight would have been simple. Jolteon is last. My bolts don't have enough health remaining and the dog knocks Magnemite out. I used some rare candies to try the fight again, but it still isn't working. The issue here isn't my level, it's that I don't have enough health. So there's an obvious fix to this. Rest. It doesn't matter how slowly I knock the Sandslash out, I just need to be able to recover lost health. After it faints, the remainder of his team isn't intimidating, because Thunderbolt does at least neutral damage to all of them, except Jolteon. But the rival has good AI, so he won't use Jolteon's electric moves, and instead just selects Pin Missile or Double Kick, both of which Magnemite's defense stat is well equipped to deal with. I've won. However, I'm worried about what's next. Producing this video could end up being very harmful for my ego. Giovanni is waiting for me, and he has two ground types. While his first two Pokemon are simple to knock out with Thunderbolt, his Rhyhorn and Nidoqueen are going to be tough. I'm forced to use Sonic Boom and Swift against them. I was scared that Nidoqueen would be able to do enough damage to me to knock me out, but it actually doesn't know Earthquake in this battle. So, turns out he's still just bad in this fight. But the next time I face him, it's going to be a completely different story. Before Blaine, I want to train as much as possible, so I skip using repels in Pokemon Mansion. I remember training here endlessly with Voltorb, so I might as well just put in some work now while I grab the secret key. In Blaine's gym, I continue the training by getting a terrible test score so that I can battle all of the trainers. He opens with Ninetales. The lack of Steel typing is again a benefit for Magnemite. I spam Thunderbolt and crush his entire team without taking a single hit point of damage. In Sabrina's gym, there are some Slowpoke and Slowbro on the trainers' teams. I knock these out for more experience. After that's out of the way, I take on the Psychic Master. Well, Mistress, sorry. She opens with Abra. My fear is that it's going to lower my accuracy to the point that I'm helpless and frustrated. It gets off two annoying flashes and I'm spamming Thunderbolt, and then I realize that Swift bypasses accuracy checks. I told you I'd forget that. But I remember just in time. I spam it against Kadabra and I take it out over 2 turns. Alakazam is last. Here, Swift does good damage and that's 3 hit range. I tank a Psychic and knock the Fox out over the next 2 turns. No frustration today. There's only one gym left, and of all of them, it's the most terrifying. Giovanni got a serious buff in Pokemon Yellow. 4 of his 5 Pokemon know Earthquake. To prepare for this fight, I need to pick up some items that I forgot earlier. The TMs for Reflect, Double Edge, and Mimic. I think these are going to be important for defeating him and for managing the league afterwards. While I'm training in his gym, I encounter this mandatory trainer with a Rhyhorn. It's almost taking no damage from Sonic Boom. Like, by this level, Sonic Boom is basically useless. It takes me down to orange health and I have to heal with rest. I take it into red health and then it gets a big critical hit, taking me down to red health as well. Well, I'll finish it off next turn, so I've got this. But then Sonic Boom misses, because of course it does, and then Rhyhorn knocks me out. Fine, I should have just healed, my mistake. That won't happen next time. But this time I'm sitting at 45 health, and I just felt like I would survive, but Stomp KOs me again. I'm struggling against this baby Rhino, and the big boy Rhino on Giovanni's team is going to be so much worse. On the 3rd fight, I finally defeat the Rhyhorn, but this fight scared me enough that I'm actually going to train more first. To do so, I head east of Fuchsia City. At level 60, I'm ready for Giovanni. He opens with Dugtrio, it misses a Fissure, and then I set up Reflect, which will minimize the damage from all future ground moves he uses. It also doesn't wear off in Generation 1, so that's a nice bonus. Fissure misses for a 2nd time, and I mimic Earthquake so that I can use it against Dugtrio, the Niddos, and Rhydon. And then the mole digs, which is unfortunate because I use Earthquake and in Gen 1 it doesn't damage Pokemon that are underground. Dugtrio connects with Dig for so much damage, knocking Magnemite out with a critical hit. That fight does not inspire much confidence. I'll level up to level 65 and try again. I head over to the power plant. The Pokemon here give decent experience and I can pick up the TM for Thunder as well as an additional rare candy. After that, I grind on trainers at sea until I'm ready to take Giovanni on again. Dugtrio gets a guard spec first turn, giving me a free chance to set up. This time I brought Swift in on my moveset instead of Mimic so that I can damage the mole when it's underground. It takes 2 turns and I knock it out. Persian's next. Swift is useful here too. It really likes to set up double team, but today it doesn't. I finish it off with Thunderbolt. Nidoqueen time. And here my Swift strategy fizzles out completely. It does pathetic damage and then a critical hit Earthquake takes Magnemite down. So that was never gonna work, especially against Rhydon. I still think I need more levels here though. I decide to train in Pokemon Mansion. While I'm here, I realize that knocking out only Raticate is going to yield decent amounts of speed stat experience. If I can gain enough, I'll be able to outspeed the Dugtrio. All trainer Pokemon have 0 stat experience and 8s in all their DVs except attack, where they get a 9. Dugtrio will have 133 speed in this fight, so I just need 134 in order to move first and avoid 1 hit. That will improve my odds a lot. As I'm training, I remember that there are Voltorb and Electrode in the power plant. I decide to train there instead to maximize my speed stat growth. It's decently convenient because you can set up a waypoint to the Pokemon Center outside of Rock Tunnel, and then dig back to it whenever you need to replenish or heal a status condition. As I level up, I'm getting closer to 134 speed. I can get there just by using rare candies and save time in the process. At level 74 I'm ready. I use Reflect first turn to minimize damage from Giovanni's physical attacks. Dugtrio uses Earthquake and it does so much damage, taking me down to 1/4 health because of a critical hit. Now I need luck. I mimic Earthquake to use it against the rest of his team, and then Dugtrio goes underground. Rest up, and Dig gets a critical hit again, taking me back to 1/4 health. Now things are bad. I'm asleep and about to faint, but Giovanni's AI comes to the rescue. He uses Fissure, and it misses because it can never hit a target that outspeeds the user. And then he uses a guard spec, allowing me to wake up and knock Dugtrio out with a single Earthquake. Next is Persian. I use Rest first turn to heal. This is a great place to do this because the Persian doesn't know any ground moves. After I wake up, I knock it out with a single Thunderbolt. Now it's time for the ground type Gauntlet. I use Earthquake against Nidoqueen. That's a single hit. Nidoking is next and it's less defensive, so I've got this. It survives Earthquake with a sliver of health? It hits me with Earthquake and Magnemite tanks it, surviving with 1/3 health. I use Rest because I won't be able to one-hit the Rhydon. I'm just hoping that Nidoking won't knock out Magnemite while it sleeps. Guard spec first turn, so far so good. Earthquake second turn, taking me to half health. I strike back and my Earthquake does the job. So half health is better than 1/3 health, but the big boy Rhydon is strong. It takes more than half damage from Earthquake and Giovanni uses a guard spec. So His AI is awful. Magnemite's moving on. The final rival before the league is a breeze for Magnemite. The overleveled bolts aren't worried about Sandslash because it doesn't know Earthquake yet. I Mimic Slash, take the ground type out, and then steamroll the rest of his team. Here are Magnemite's stats and moveset before the league. It's rare for me to arrive at the league at this level. Most Pokemon make it here between level 50 and level 65. So how's it gonna do? Will it have an easy victory, or will it get walled by a surprising foe? Let's find out. Lorelei's first, and all of her Pokemon are part water type. Except for Jinx, of course. That thing's part scary type. But today I manage it without issue and I arrive at Lapras, her ace. Thunderbolt should do this without an issue. But then I get a Gen 1 miss, Hydro Pump connects and does almost nothing. Okay, I finish it with Thunderbolt on turn 2, so that was easy. Guess who's next? Bruno. He's no hiker today, as both of his Onix could be threats. The first one knows Dig, and the second one knows Earthquake. I set up Reflect to minimize damage from them. Now that that's set up, I don't have a damage dealing move that can hit ground types, so I'm forced to steal Onix's Dig, second turn, with Mimic. I outspeed, Dig underground, Onix digs too, but slower. I go first, causing me to miss, and his Onix hits me, doing over half damage with Dig, aided by a critical hit. Oh no, please don't let me lose against Bruno. But he doesn't have good AI, like why would Bruno get good AI? Onix just randomly does other stuff than Dig for a while and I knock it out. Thunderbolt takes care of the Hitmons easily, leading to his final Onix. My Dig does so much more damage to it though, because Bruno doesn't have time to set up any X defense. I finish it in 2 attacks and Machamp goes down to a single Thunderbolt. All is right with the world. Bruno didn't defeat me. Agatha's next and she's like Lorelei. Regularly a challenge, but at this level with Thunderbolt it's easy to defeat all of her team members. The final Gengar would have probably survived, but a helpful critical hit seals the deal against her. I'm moving on to Lance after very little resistance. I really like having an electric move for his lead, Gyarados. I one-shot it and move on to the Dragonairs. The first one I just need to knock out with Thunderbolt. After that, I steal Ice Beam from Dragonair, and here we go. Are you ready? Yeah, I use Thunderbolt again. Why use Ice Beam when you can fail to KO the dragon with an electric move, and then take damage from Hyper Beam as a result? And then next I choose Ice Beam, so the dragon does end up fainting to super effective ice damage. That's good. Aerodactyl's next. It outspeeds, uses Hyper Beam, takes me to 52 health, and Thunderbolt knocks it out. Dragonite's last. But it's so slow. Ice Beam connects for 4 times damage and it faints. Magnemite has reached the champion. Sandslash is first and it knows Earthquake. I use Reflect and boost my defense, and then Earthquake connects and does 1/3 damage to Magnemite. I mimic Earthquake so they can damage the shrew, and the champion's second move takes me down to 78 hit points. I can probably survive one more. I do, and from there I rest up. As it continues to attack, I realize I have a problem. Sandslash is doing enough damage that I'll never be able to strike back. The only way to win now is with a critical hit. I try for it, don't get it, and Magnemite faints. If I use Double Edge instead of Mimic, I only need 1 turn of setup instead of 2. Can this give me the advantage that I need? But Sandslash gets a critical hit and knocks me out on the first turn. I've used all but 3 of my rare candies to get to this point, so I use what's left and then I attempt again at level 80. Same strategy. Set up Reflect, tank Earthquake, and then hope that Double Edge will do enough damage. If it doesn't, I might be stuck having to lose against the champion and train more. My first Double Edge does less than half. I tank a second Earthquake, and then Double Team gets a critical hit and knocks Sandslash out. Okay, that's really good. Alakazam is next. I gamble here, and I use Double Edge for physical damage on the frail Psychic type. It works, but do I survive the recoil? I do, with 15 hit points. Executor slows the pace of the battle and gives me an opportunity to heal up. Remember, Reflect never fades in Gen 1, so my defense is just boosted for the remainder of this fight. That helps here against the Pineapple's Barrage and Stomp. I wake up, critical hit it with Thunderbolt, and then knock it out over the next 2 turns. Cloyster is obviously a simple 1-hit, Ninetales takes 2 turns, and last is Jolteon, his ace. I really don't want to take recoil damage here, so I use the not very effective Thunderbolt. In retrospect, I think that Double Edge would be a fine choice since the doggo can't deal much damage to me. I finish it off and defeat Butt. Magnemite finishes the game with a time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 37 seconds. Now, let's do some testing on the Elite Four. I want to explore what's required to make it through each member with reliability and consistency, not just luck. To test this, I'm going to face each league member that I felt was a potential hazard again. I want to beat them 5 times in a row. If I lose, I reset the victories counter. However, If the loss is because of a silly player error, like forgetting to use Ice Beam on a dragon, then I won't reset the counter. I'll allow myself to lose once due to bad luck, say a freeze or a stray critical hit. But if I lose a second time because of luck, I'll reinvestigate my strategy, reset the timer, and try again. Bruno's the first member of the league that I need to test. Last time I didn't get hit with a critical hit Earthquake from the second Onyx, and that could be devastating. Magnemite's move pool doesn't give me access to any moves that are good options against these rock types. Maybe there's some toxic double team and substitute shenanigans that I could use instead, but Mimic with Dig seems like the best plan without double team. I'm able to defeat him 5 times in a row, proving that this fight isn't something to be worried about. My ego's still uncomfortable with the fact that I had to prove this though. Agatha's easy for Magnemite. I don't one-shot all of her Pokemon this time, but I don't feel that there's a scenario where she'll defeat me. I can tank her psychic moves because of my special stat, and Hypnosis is the only way that she'd be able to damage me consistently. Its accuracy is the reason that I doubt that she can defeat me regularly though. I did a test for consistency against Lance. I wanted to see what would happen if Aerodactyl got a critical hit. Turns out I can just survive it. I take 5 victories over him with ease, and then I'm ready to face the champion again. And this is where everything falls apart. At Sandslash, this singular Pokemon. It's a complete wall for Magnemite. The only reason that I won previously was because of the critical hit that I got. This time, my first fight ends immediately when Sandslash gets a critical hit. On the second fight, I play the long game and slowly whittle it down using Rest to heal. This increases the likelihood that I'll lose though. Every turn it gets to attack is another potential critical hit. I get to Alakazam, and from there I prove that the remainder of the team can't defeat me. They take a while to knock out. Exeggutor's excellent at slowing the fight down, and the persistent Leech Seed with Fire Spin increases the number of turns required to win, but eventually I make it to Jolteon and I can just heal there and knock it out. So the only thing that needs to be solved here is Sandslash. How can I get past it reliably? I try at level 82. Sandslash is still in 3-hit range with Double Edge. If I can get it into 2-hit range by leveling up, I'll increase my survivability in 2 ways. 1, I'll have more defense and health, and 2, I'll take 1 less turn of damage because I only need 2 turns to knock it out. At level 90, it's still a 3-hit though. I lost 5 times in a row just trying to make it past the Sandslash. Finally on fight 6, I managed to defeat it and win. So it's possible, but it's nowhere near consistent. More levels are required. At level 95, I take a lot less from each Earthquake, and for the first time since my initial victory, I 2-shot the Sandslash. Because another critical hit. On my second fight, Sandslash gets a critical hit and Magnemite survives. Ooh, that's nice. So level 95 gives me additional reliability because I survive a critical hit when I have full health. That's good to know. I accidentally lose this fight by just attacking again though. That's a fumble fingers moment. So I need to do this fight again to test and see if Double Edge is actually a 2-hit range, but it isn't. At level 96, it still isn't in 2-hit range. It's rarely the case that I need to do this, but today I'm going to go to level 100 and see how consistency is at that level. How many times can I defeat Sandslash out of 10 when I start at level 100? I can now 2-hit the Shrew and move on to the rest of his team. I play out 10 battles against Sandslash. Here they are. It's really coming down to Sandslash's crit rate. If I avoid a crit, I win. If it crits when I'm not at 100% health, I lose. Sandslash only has a 12.7% chance to crit, so I should lose about 1 in 10 fights. And that's exactly what happens. So I've done it. Magnemite requires level 100 to get this level of consistency against the champion. I did use rare candies to get myself up to this level though, so if you trained for attack stat experience, you could likely achieve this 2-hit range on Sandslash at a lower level. Now let's review Magnemite's performance. It took 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 37 seconds of real time while playing at 4x game speed to complete the game. That's 8 hours and 45 minutes of game time. Magnemite was level 80 when it won, and I reset a total of 9 times throughout the playthrough. These key challenges were a random Rhyhorn trainer, Giovanni, and the champion Sandslash. Most of these resets could be eliminated by just training more before entering Giovanni's gym. However, against the champion, full consistency isn't possible with this moveset. Like, subscribe, bring the Chimecho, and leave a comment because I gotta read them all. If you want to support the creation of this content, check out my Patreon. It's in the description. You'll become one of the first 251 Pokemon in the credits. Like these fine people who already support the channel. Thanks for making my dreams come true. Also, thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it so much. If you've made it this far, you're incredible. Now, it's bloopers time. Okay, here we go, we're rolling. Rolling time, Holy, that's really loud. Okay, let's try this. Try not to be too enthusiastic while I record. So, I have a habit, can't say habit, First 4 words, no 5 words. Already messed up. Magnemite's stats are decent for a solo playthrough. Excellent special, makes its electric moves hit. I was doing so well, and then I wasn't. Complicating the matter is my low HP stat, which forces me to... Nurse Joy pee-pee joke. Die. Gotta get it right. Complicating the matter is the fact that my HP stat is low. Complicating the matter is the low HP stat, which forces me to let Surge opens with Raichu. He lacks good AI, so he chooses his mouse. The fighting dodo. Oh no. That's a funny... Dodo? Is Doduo a dodo? I attempt the rival at level 40. Sandslash leads. After my first... I attempt the rival at level 40. 40. Oh, I just went into deep voice there. She opens with Abra. My fear is that it's going to be... Sabrina Dominatrix joke got me. Must deliver this well. But this time, I'm sitting at 45 health, and I just felt like I would survive. Lorelei's first, and all of her Pokemon are water type. Today, I manage it without issue, and then I arrive at Apris. What am I saying? Apris? Oh my gosh. Guess who's next? My voice just gave out. I was about to say the word Bruno, and then my voice was like, no, you can't say that.